Hey everyone, today we'll be discussing the concept of loops. This is Snap Class 1.5. As you might remember from a previous class, say you want to make a robot do something for you. You say the above code is a function. If you had 10 buttons, how would you program the robot to fasten all 10 buttons? Would you copy and paste that above function 10 times in your code? The short answer, you wouldn't. Luckily for us, there's something called a loop in programming. Loops are used to repeat some code until a condition is met. For example, let's talk about French fries. For every French fry on my plate, dip it in ketchup and eat it. Stop when there are no more French fries. This is an example of using a loop in programming instead of repeating the same line of code over and over. In this example, we will use a loop to check how many French fries are left in my plate and then continue dipping them in ketchup until all of them are gone. The next example we can talk about is a function that asks the user for a number. What if you wanted to ask the user for 100 numbers? We can use a loop to repeat that single function of asking the user 100 times. In Snap, you can put some code inside a loop to make it run for some time. The first type of loop is called a forever loop. Any code inside a forever loop is run over and over forever, as per the name. You can't put anything below a forever loop because no code below it will ever be run. In this example, the sprite will keep on asking the user for their name forever. Another type of loop is called a repeat loop. Here, you can place a number to make the loop run a certain number of times. The move 10 steps block will run 10 times, so the sprite will run a total of 100 steps. In the second example. There's another type of loop that's called a repeat until Boolean loop. This takes a predicate and checks to see whether it's true. If it is true, the loop will stop running. What do you think this block will do? How many times will this run? Probably the most useful loop is known as the for loop. In the for loop, the variable I is shown as a variable that starts at 1 and increases every iteration of the for loop, or every time the for loop runs. The loop will stop after I is equal to 10, the last iteration. A fun fact is that programmers like to use the word incrementing instead of increasing when referring to a variable like I in a for loop. Using a for loop. Here's an animation of one using the for loop. The variable I can be dragged and dropped into the block inside the loop. So in this example, every time I increases from, for example, 1 to 2 to 3, you'll be saying 1 for 2 seconds, and you'll be saying 2 for 2 seconds, and you'll be saying 3 for 2 seconds, and so on, until the final one you'll say is 10, and then you'll say that for 2 seconds. So let's take an activity. How many times will each of these loops run? What are the loops doing? And what is the output? Pause the video, answer these questions, and then we can move on. Assuming you've completed these exercises, we can move on. Loops with conditionals. You can also add conditionals inside a loop. Conditionals, as you remember, are also known as command blocks, and command blocks can be put together with other command blocks. So in this example, what must be true in order for the say block to run? How many times will the say block run in this example? Now we can move on to the exercises. The first exercise is to print all the multiples of 5 from 1 to 50 in separate say blocks. Then, print the product of all numbers lower than 10. That's also known as a factorial of 10. An example is the factorial of 10 being 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2. The third one is to ask the user for an integer and provide the sum of all the positive odd integers below it. Complete those exercises. That is the end of this presentation. For more information, you can email team@codivate.org or ask us on our Discord server if you have any trouble with the content. Thank you for watching.